It is my absolute pleasure to welcome you all at this national conference. To make this morning a blessed one, invoke Goddess Saraswati by kindling the lamp of knowledge and wisdom. Forsaking the choicest blessings, we have culture to kindle the lamp. Light is the symbol of brightness and prosperity. As sunlight expels the darkness of similarly, blessings bring in our life prosperity and happiness. I request all the dignitaries to kindly occupy the seats. I would like to request all to stand up for the prayer. I request all the dignitaries to lift their hands.
कितना मुश्किल करे सगळं बंद होते
I request all the dignitaries to kindly occupy the seats of the dais. I would like to request all to stand up for the prayer. सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखमाप्नुयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
I request all the dignitaries to kindly occupy the seats. Before we begin, let us take a moment to express our gratitude to all our esteemed guests for gracing this occasion with their presence. We have distinguished speakers, Dr. A.M. Sarvade sir, Dr. G.K. Badigar sir, Dr. Ashok Thorat sir, and Dr. P.M. Patil sir, who will be sharing their insights on this important subject. So, without further ado, let's commence the proceedings. We'll begin with the introduction by Professor A.G. Shinde sir. I would like to invite him to welcome today's guests and participants.
Good morning, one and all. I am Audumbar Shinde, Assistant Professor and Coordinator of this program. Take this opportunity to welcome you all. After this holy prayer, first of all, I mentioned that it is a kind of regret that we are running late by 10 to 15 minutes, but I am assuring you we will manage all the things as per the schedule. Honorable Director Sir of the Institute, Dr. Vikram Patil Sir, Honorable Speaker, Dr. P.M. Patil Sir, he is my mentor also. Apart from Dr. A.M. Sarvade Sir, Badigar Sir, Thorat Sir, I welcome all of you. What to speak about today's resource persons? Speaking about Dr. Thorat Sir, Sir, I have read and studied your book, Spectrum Criticism in 2008, and I cleared NET as well as SET examination. Such a renowned persons we are having. Now, speaking about intention of this conference, ADCT is known for its distinguished attitude. It is always thinking about society and societal values. My authorities, Honorable Director Sir, as well as Head of Department, Professor S.S. Mohite Sir, always tells that we should do something about community and mostly about student community. Today's thing is that students' values are a little bit changing, and at the same time, students are changing because they are losing their patience. Of course, while teaching literature, here many are there who are from literature background. Those who are studying literature and teaching literature also, they are making students spiritual. And apart from that, those who are from technical backgrounds, yes, students do communicate, but still we need to sharpen and nurture their communicative performances. We were planning to organize this conference along with Dr. P.M. Patil sir, but yes, in future also there may be another such program, and we will do it in collaborative manner. Now, regarding this conference, there are 3 plenary sessions. First will be of Dr. Thorat sir, then second will be of Badigar sir, and it will be followed by Dr. A.M. Sarvade sir, and then there will be paper presentation session. I request all delegates, participants, research scholars, teachers, and the chairpersons who will be chairing the paper presentation session. I welcome you all, and I request all participants do interact and feel free to ask questions. This conference is also online on YouTube mode also. It is YouTube live. In case if anyone is not able to join this, we will provide the same link to those who can or willing to join. Now I take your leave on this occasion because we are lagging little bit. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, Professor Shinde sir, for setting the stage for our conference. Now, we are moving towards felicitation of our guest. We have esteemed guests joining us both online and offline, and it is our privilege to felicitate them on behalf of our institute. It is indeed a pleasure to see Dr. P.M. Patil sir, one of our esteemed guest speakers, present with us today. Dr. Patil sir, your presence adds immense value to our conference, and we are very grateful for your participation. Now I request our respected Director Dr. Vikram Patil sir to come forward and felicitate Dr. P.M. Patil sir.
Thank you, sir. Our distinguished speakers, Dr. A.M. Sarvade sir, Dr. G.K. Badikar sir, and Dr. Ashok Thorat sir have joined this conference virtually. So I request our respected director to welcome all our speakers virtually.
Good morning. On this hybrid mode conference, we have Dr. Ashok Thorat, founder director of IASE, Institute of Advanced Studies in English, Dr. Saravde AM, associate professor, Department of English in Shivaji University, and Gurunath Badikar, associate professor in English, serving in government College of Engineering and PG Center, Dharwad. I welcome all our this esteemed guests for this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are honored to have our esteemed HOD sir, Professor S.S. Moite, who will now felicitate our director, Dr. Vikram Patil sir, for his remarkable leadership and contribution to our institute. Now, I request our respected HOD sir, Professor S.S. Moite sir, to felicitate our Dean Academics, Dr. S. Gopinath sir.
I request all the dignitaries, please have a seat. Our next speaker is Professor P.M. Patil, sir, an esteemed academician and a distinguished scholar in the field of English language and literature. Professor Dr. P.M. Patil, sir, have rich experience of teaching. Under his guidance, students have completed their PhD. Currently, he is guiding 5 research scholars. One student has completed MPhil under him. He has completed 2 UCG projects. He has authored 3 books, more than 50 research papers in national and international journals. Presently, he is Senate member in Shivaji University, Kolhapur. Let's welcome him to address our participants. Please, sir. I request PM Patil sir to address our participants.
I will speak first, then sir will speak. Okay. Yes. Good morning to all. We are here for the National Conference on English Language and Literature Teaching Learning Skills. Really, it is an amazing time to organize this particular conference. Even though we are from the technical field, we have engineering background, but we are giving emphasis on the English because it is a pioneer language for our students and faculty. I welcome for this particular conference Dr. M. Sarvade sir from Shivaji University, Kolhapur, Ashok Thorat sir, Institute of Advanced Studies in English. We have with us Badikar sir, Government College of Engineering, Dharwad. My mentor and the person is always with us, Dr. P.M. Patil sir, Arts Science Commerce College, Padus. The person who is always with us for the certain kind of this skill-oriented things, Dr. Vikram Patil sir, Director of ADSET, Dean Academics Dr. Gopinath, Dean Research and Development N. Zadav, the coordinators of this program, my English faculty, my basic science faculty, faculties of engineering background, dear participants from the abroad, from the India, from the Maharashtra, from the area of Shivaji University, Kolhapur. I grant welcome to all of you for this particular conference. Dear participants, every year there is a habit of Anna Sahib Dange College of Engineering. We should organize certain things for the society. And this time we have given thought that why cannot we organize the national conference for the English peoples? And we delighted to see the 123 participants have participated in this conference, and we got more than 50 papers for the presentations. This is what the faith, love and affection of all of you with the EdSet. Before talking about the conference, I want to share something, success stories of my college EdSet. Anna Sahib Dange College of Engineering and Technology was established by our founder Anna Sahib Dange, considering the view in line with why we cannot provide the education to the rural background. This particular institute was established in 1909, and now this particular institute is doing something different and better in the society. Our chairman has a thought we should give a quality education to all kind of social peoples, and that's why we are doing something different. We have 9 different disciplines. In that, food technology, the emerging area, we have with us the Internet of Things and artificial intelligence, along with mechanical, civil, computer engineering, and electrical engineering. Intake capacity is 720. Today, 3,000 odd students are studying in our engineering college. This is because of the great leadership of our Anna Sahib Dange, Appa, Honorable Secretary Shiman Bhau Dange, and dynamic leader, Executive Director Honorable Kanaisa. This particular engineering college is performing well because we are providing the education to the technical technocrats. In that, we have basic science department. Under that, we are doing this conference. The basic science department is a department which is associated with only first year students, and physics, chemistry, mathematics and professional peoples are working in that. We have 20 qualified faculties. We have great infrastructure in our department to fulfill the needs of our first year students. The students, even in the first year, they are doing certain product development and project, and they are going to be showcasing in the different competitions. That leadership amongst the students is generated by the faculty and our leaders who is working at the management level. So this department wants to conduct certain things for the society, and also we are planning certain different conferences, workshop in the future also, and which is we have conducted also in the past. This is possible due to the peoples like you, the participants like you, because you are giving faith and love and affection. That's why we are doing this. Talking about this particular conference, this conference is under the leadership of Dr. Vikram Patil sir we are doing, and we want to generate some competency in the literature area, in the English area. The literature, language and the digitalization have helped to begin the every major resolution of the world. This conference offers the platform to exchanging the views on what is happening not only in the language literature world, but also in all related subjects of the linguistic theory, literature theory, then digital literature and media literature. This is an exclusive chance to learn directly from the experts from the language and literature in the area of information and technology. It is an worthwhile to study the scope of language and literature. Professionals in this field can attend this conference and get the benefit. The main objective of this conference is to bring together leading academics and researchers and research scholars to exchange and share their experiences and research results on the aspects in connection with their respective disciplines. So this conference will not be helpful for improve the skills of that particular participant, but also we are getting certain knowledge, skills by hearing them also and getting certain result. With this, I once again welcome to all participants, all the dignitaries, all the chairperson and all of you. And this particular day we will utilize to enhance the skill in English. The whole day we are with all of us. I request all of you have a debate, have a certain interaction, have a certain question answer so that we will give certain weightage in this particular area. With this, thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir, for your opening remarks. Moving on, we have a special address by Director of ADCET, Dr. Vikram Patil, sir. Now I request Dr. PM Patil, sir, to address us and grace the occasion. Please, sir.
Good morning. Actually, at the outset, I feel gratitude for inviting me as a chief. But I think that I'm not chief here because I always related to this college. Honorable academicians, Dr. Ashok Thorachi, Badikar Gopinathji, A.M. Sarode sir, the Dean of ADCET, Dr. Vikram Patil sir, who is a man of support, Dr. Professor S.S. Moite sir, Dr. Gopinath Sarji, the man who always chatted with me, Professor E.G. Shinde sir, all the officials of these institutions, my teachers, delegates, academicians, and the researchers. At the outset, I told I'm not a guest here because my both sons have taken degree from here, and I have worked on the parent-teacher meet committee here. The aim of institutions of this ADCET, actually, I gone through it through this aim because my two sons now are working in one Tech Mahindra and one in Infosys. The conference, English language, literature, teaching and learning skills. I am not at that height to make the comments, give the guidance, but I am one of them among you. But I want to share my views at a function. Language, literature, and teaching learning skills. This college, this institution are relegated to technical skills. And even though under the Department of Basic Science, they have taken subject language and literature. What is the role of literature in technical education? That is the question. We have some questions before you. What is language? What is the role of language? What is the literature? What is the role of literature? Yes, we know that language is nothing but it is a divine gift given by God to us. If the language is not existed, so many problems could be created. You speak language so that you can communicate something, our feelings, our thoughts, our innovative ideas, whatever in mind, that may be feelings and the emotions. No doubt language is a social, language is a verbal, language is the vocal, language is the arbitrary. Language is a system of systems. But very important thing is that language is human. We are here due to the language. Language is not to impress to others, but language is to express something. Language is a way of communication, but there are so many methods today we have of the communications. The question is that what is the role of literature in studying and in learning English? Teaching learning skills. Before that, I want to define the definition of literature. Literature is nothing but it is one kind of expression of our society, human life. It is a representation, it is a recreation of a human society. We are all social animals. Actually, man and the society are nothing but they are two faces of the same coin. They can't separate, they are equalistic. Though we are faculty from technical departments, we are happy to read something. Though the children enjoy the TV, read something, it doesn't mean they are going to waste their time. No. The parents always ask questions to their words. Teacher asks questions to the students. What are you doing? We are enjoying TV. We are reading something. Reading a novel. What is the use of reading? Novel or literature? They can't feed our stomach. You want to read it. Actually, though it can't, the reading of literature can't feed our stomach, they can feed our mind. And which is very important today. Means here language is a roadmap of a culture, which now we are forgetting. That the culture tells us you where from and where we are going. By the language we can understand the particular region is of that particular person. There is a language so that we can express whatever in mind. When the teachers from English faculty try to teach English communication, the purpose or the aim of this conference, what is the role of literature in teaching and learning skills? Actually, we know that due to learning or due to reading of literature, we have growth of civilization. The development of the peace means that literature contributes to the peace across when we understand the principles of the peace. But from where we can get when we go through the literature, when we read different kind of the works of eminent persons. We take the name of Nelson Mandela, man of peace. When we go through the work or the life is of that particular person, when we go through the life and personality of Mahatma Gandhi, we can get something which would be useful for our society. But literature is nothing but it is the criticism of our life. So we take the example of poetry. It is said that poetry is nothing but it is a spontaneous overflow of the powerful emotions. What are feelings in our mind? We can't put that information before the audience in society directly or directly. But we can express our attitudes, our thoughts through poems, through literature. Literature supports in many areas. Actually, literature heightens effective skills about teaching and learning. How is I will give you example. Literature stimulates our imagination. It fosters peer respect and group cooperation. One important thing is that literature creates something or supports to the critical thinking or to develop our reasoning powers. When the teacher of English tries to teach the English of English communication, he can use some examples from literature. Though he is the teacher in English language, he should be a little bit a multilingual also. Having the situation of the students, teacher trying to teach something. If he is a teacher in English language, he can use the other languages also. If you are perfect in one language, you are getting or you can get the information of particular word only. But if you are dynamic in many languages, we can get different kind of cultures. When you teach English and when you give the example, I will give at the end the example in Marathi. How did it create? Means literature creates the innovative idea in the mind of the students. The question comes to what does mean critical thinking? When you teach English, you give some examples to support their reasoning. Give the one some sentences, quotations, lines from literature. When you do something as a college is nothing, but it is the only graduate producing machine. You try to ask question to the students. Is it correct or not? You will try to think. Is it graduate producing machine? Or is it the temple where we can make a devotion of education? And now, is it remained a temple or not? Yes, in Yayati, there is one statement, one sentence given by Lisa Khandegar. माणसाच्या जीवनाचा शेवट मृत्यूच असेल तर जगतो कशासाठी. When we think on the particular sentence, we have so many questions in our mind. When the faculty from English try to give such kind of example to students, he will try to think on it. What is the role of literature? This statement from the ART. He can have innovative ideas. It is the prime duty of the teacher. He should know the other languages also. If you can't give the example from the other language, he can't learn diversity, various cultures, various principles. The literature enhances skill of interpretation and skill of critical thinking. And I will give you the two examples here. Suppose the word is given to the student. What does it mean life? Very simple. We all live life, but we can't define the definition of life. Today's students are nothing but they are the product in the market. Only by having the theoretical knowledge, we can't get the different kind of good jobs. The jobs are dependent on your intellect, on your reasoning power, on your personality, on your leadership. And these all aspects are reflected through the literature. What is the definition of life? The students will come together and they will discuss it. What is the definition of life? As one among them will tell us, the literature is nothing but it is, the life is nothing but it is like a lake which is filled with the gladness and the sadness. That is effect of group discussion. म्हणजे जीवन म्हणजे एक सरोवर आहे ते सुख दुःखाच्या धाग्याने विणलेलं आहे किंवा भरलेलं आहे आपण म्हणतो. The another one can't agree with that statement of definition. Actually, students have high potential, but they don't have exposure. And we have to expose their ideas, innovative concepts by giving the different kind of examples from literature. The another says that, sir, I do not agree with that, the first definition. Literature, life is nothing but it is one kind of a cloth which is woven by joy and woe. Same definition, but interpretation idea is totally different. The third comes there and he says, I do not agree with that. The third says, life is a lotus which grows in the mud of the sorrows. Highlight him. The fourth comes there, sir, I do not agree with all three definitions. Then tell people, life is not flower. It is one kind of a battlefield. महाभारतामध्ये तो सांगितलं जीवन म्हणजे पुष्पशया नसून ते रणांगण आहे. It is also right. But the last one comes there, I do not agree with all the definitions. My definition is my definition. What is your definition? Life is a question which has no answer. Before the death, we can't get. After the death, there is no problem with getting answer of it. It's one who reads the literature, he can interpret such kind of the ideas. The life is only one word, no doubt. But reading the supports, make the interpretation of one word with a different angles. Students should read something. What to read and what to not read, their questions. But the literature gives. I told you critical thinking is what. And when I was teaching English at junior college, Swami Ramananda Bharati Vidya Mandir Tasgaon, at that time I had read one essay of Marathi. From where HSC answers it. And there was one teacher who was assessing the Marathi answer sheets. And he had given 10 out of 10 marks for that essay. Is it possible in Marathi? I raised the question. I had raised the question at that time, sir, how can this possible? You have given 10 out of 10. Actually, I was a student of that particular teacher, and he told me, Popat, go through it. Read it first, and then you decide. I had gone through that essay, and I told sir, If the permission is given to me to assess this paper, I will give 20 marks for that essay. The question comes to our mind, what kind of a topic of that essay? The reasoning power and critical thinking is very important, and these skills only we get from the literature. The essay was that. I will narrate in Marathi because you will understand minute things from that. How the literature enhances the skill of the critical thinking. essay काय होता? मी पाहिलेली यात्रा. The title of essay, मी पाहिलेली यात्रा. We people as a student think like this. How? परीक्षा संपलेली होती, सुट्टीचे दिवस होते, मामाच्या गावची यात्रा होती, मामाच्या गावाला गेलो आणि हे यात्रेमध्ये पाहिलं. म्हणजे आपण विद्यार्थी दशेमध्ये आपण अशाच प्रकारे एसी लिहिला असता. एसीची सुरुवात तशीच होती सर. परीक्षा संपलेली होती, उन्हाळ्याचे दिवस होते, मामाच्या गावची यात्रा होती, मी त्या यात्रेला गेलो होतो, पण मी पाहिली तिथं एक यात्रा, ती नव्हती गावची, ती होती अंत्ययात्रा. Means that student want to define, interpret the meaning of yatra. तो पुढे जाऊन म्हणतोय की नव्हती गावची, ती होती अंत्ययात्रा. गावची यात्रा आणि अंत्ययात्रा यामध्ये फरक असतो काय? क्वेश्चन मार्क. गावच्या यात्रेला पाहुणे रावळे सगळेच येतात. अंत्ययात्रा सुद्धा पाहुणे रावळे येतात. पण गावच्या यात्रेला हसत खेळत नाचत येतात. हित येणारे मात्र रडत येत होते. गावच्या यात्रेमध्ये पालखी निघते. That student raised so many questions in that essay. Behind that writing, there should be literature. Most of his readings. तो पुढे जाऊन म्हणतोय की गावच्या यात्रेमध्ये पालखी निघते, अंत्ययात्रेमध्ये सुद्धा पालखी निघते. फरक तो काय? देवाची पालखी दोघांनी धरली होती, इथं मात्र चौघांनी धरलेली होती. गावच्या यात्रेच्या पालखी समोर बँड वाजत होता, इथं मात्र पकवाज वाजत होता, मृदंग वाजत होता, कारण जाणारा माळकरी होता. What is the creativity? I pointed to say something that what is the creativity behind that, and only literature can do this work. We can give the different kind of examples like this to the students. Though we are teachers from the professional faculty, there is question before them. They can't give the examples from the literature because the particular syllabus is related to community skills. We have to come out from that and give the such kind of examples to them. Use the different kind of teaching aids, tools and materials for that. Only now a chalk talk method is not remaining. We use the different kind of tools and the materials. They are not tools for English language, but for the literature also. communication and the business communication and e-communication in our life. Tell something by giving the examples from literature. Literature develops your moral capacity, which is very important for the personality. It's what is education, all round development of the personality is called education. How to develop our personality? If we don't think about the aspects of life, the students are becoming mark oriented. They want money. But before going to face interview, they have to question to yourself. If you want the salary of the 50,000, ask question yourself, am I fit for that? May I have such kind of a personality to get this job? What are the lacunings in me? You have to tell these things to them. Always, we people are going to think that the professional means BCA, BBA, then BCS. There is also professional English. There is such faculty from that department. Raise questions. So there are no poems, there are no lessons. How we can teach students? We have to motivate to the students. Go to the library, read novels, and acquire something. Not only hard skills. So hard skills are not only important. There should be soft skills. And we can get the soft skills from literature. When a poet has written one poem, it is very simple, but it can give something different. He says that, oh my friend, think about the character. Character means what? Do not think. Oh my friend, think about the character. Character is not like inkless paper. Or sorry, dotted paper. If there are dots on the paper, we can change the paper. No? Character is not like inkless pen. If there is no ink, yes, we can fill it. Last it says that, oh my friend, think about the character. Character is not like a dotted paper. If there are dots on your character, we can't remove and we can't wash. How the character is very important. Now the people are running after money. They are not running after character. Some people are there. They are following the characters. One thing is that literature. Actually, we have a syllabus of one novel, 5 point someone of the Chetan Bhagat's. And there is one film of 3 Idiot for second year. And in that film of 3 Idiots, we can get the information. Theoretical knowledge is not important. The practical knowledge is very important. We have to support the student. We have to motivate the student. Go and study literature, even though you are students of language. So we know that no language, no literature. But no literature, no life. If you want to be first successful in your life, you should follow the literature. And if you want to be successful in your life, no doubt, yes, we have to use also language. And your degrees, these are the hard skills. Find everywhere. We can get something. But before teaching the students, we people should go to the literature. Now we are discussing some questions with the parents and the other teachers. Actually, students are not interested in studying something. We have to create interest. Yes, they will. follow something. And so that it is our duty first to get involved them in such kind of activities, that activities would create the interest. And here the today's conference is related to language, no doubt it's the basic. Though it is a technical institutions, they have chosen the subject, the literature. And I appreciate such department of basic science because they have given, though it's a technical institution, they have given respect to the literature also. What is the value of literature in teaching and learning? And if you go, if you view the examples from the literature and we mingle these examples with the language, definitely student will learn something and will get also the happiness as in a teaching field also. Here, once again, I feel gratitude for inviting me to deliver or to share my views, not guidance, not comments on things. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. You have taught us that if we need to get excellence in any language, not only English, we need to have reading habit. We should work on critical thinking. We must express our thoughts on that literature that will help us to think out of the box. How it is important to work on personality. Many insights we got from you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Moving on, we have a special address by Director of ADCET, Dr. Vikram Patil, sir. Sir has been a driving force behind the success of our institution and has been instrumental in promoting excellence in education. So I request Dr. Vikram Patil, sir, to please address us.
Good morning to all. Respected chief guest and dignitaries, we have here in physical mode Dr. P.M. Patil and Dr. Ashok Thorat, Dr. Sarovde and Dr. Gurunath Padigar in online mode. I have with me Dr. Gopinath in academics, Dean R&D Professor Amol Zadav, Head of the Department of First Year Engineering, Mr. Mohite, faculty members and participants who are here in physical mode as well as in online mode. As Professor Patil mentioned many times, correlation of literature with students' development in critical thinking, logical thinking, reasoning. Of course, one has got exposure of other thoughts. Literature means it is thought of a person. So sometimes if that thought process is accepted by many people, that become a system. So it is necessary that we should have exposure to this literature. But it should not be just restricted that this much is in curriculum. So we'll be having discussion or exposure ourselves as well as to the student only related to these topics. See, sometimes it happens that the Newton's law which we studied in 7th standard or 8th standard or 10th standard will be used even in satellite launching. So sometimes it is invented long back but still used in day-to-day, everyday matter. So likewise, literature, whatever we have studied or will be studying, it doesn't mean that only we'll confine ourselves to those points which are there in curriculum. It is necessary that the communication skills of the student as well faculty members, because Some time back, these faculty members, everybody was student only. Need to be developed. Rather, it is not need to be just developed, it need to be systematically developed. Whatever may be the language player, it can be a British English or it can be American English or it can be any other English or the accent wise, any Indian language accent of the English language, we need to develop it. The language skills will be get improved, as Professor mentioned, by the literature of that language. Of course, if you feel that reading Shakespeare is very tough and these days that kind of a classic English is not used, fine. But then, yeah, we should use the Chetan Bhagat so that the language of the region will be followed. It is not just we should read the Chetan Bhagat because we should influence student to read it because he is known as influencer for young minds. If you look at his back page, it is mentioned there he is influencer for young minds. Now, influencing for what? Influencing for innovative things. Influencing maybe for inventions, or influencing for doing something new may not be the great thing, but then something new. So these things will be narrated to the students in appropriate communication. So the role of teacher is not just to teach or carry out the curriculum which is mentioned as a part of a syllabus, but to develop the students in these aspects. And as I said, it is not just develop the student, it is necessary that we should have the development of our fellow colleagues. Because everybody might not have given that importance to the communication when one was studying mathematics or when one was studying engineering or when one was studying something else. But then, apart from that, the regular curriculum, many other activities in day-to-day life, education life should be planned and executed, wherein student will get exposure to the language, improvement in the communication, and to the literature exposure will be getting. There are new challenges of the technology for this again. Earlier, we need to look into the different books, different aspects, different literature, but then Quillboard kind of a thing will give you the paraphrasing automatically. Even if Quillboard is giving paraphrasing, whether it is accurate or appropriate, sometimes it's changing the meaning. Every word with its location and with its synonyms will put different meaning. So we also have to equip ourselves how to use these paraphrasing softwares or technologies. Another great challenge is coming from the technology is recently launched ChatGPT. So it is necessary that we should give exposure to the students that how this ChatGPT also can be used for improvement and how this ChatGPT can be a co-teacher. So there we should have a line that what I will be teaching, what I will be mentoring, and what are the things students should get from these technological platforms. What they should get it from Quillboard, what they should get it from ChatGPT. Our assignment should be modified accordingly because we have to adapt ourselves these changes, irrespective of what area we are working, whether we are working in civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, or mathematics, or physics, chemistry, or English literature, or economics. We have to know these technological changes because these changes are affecting or making good effect to every field. So it is necessary that we should learn these things and we should convert these things that how we can use these things as a co-teacher. See, these days students are very much fascinated about the gadgets. if you tell something, then they may not accept 100%, but if they are looking at the gadget, they are very much addicted with the gadget. So instead of wasting their time with some nonsense thing on the gadget, can we convert that gadget time, that screen time, so that they will get something good learning? So these are the challenges communication teacher and English teachers have to address and plan the curriculum, plan the lessons accordingly. I'm very much grateful and thankful to all resource persons who accepted our invitation and attended this in physical mode as well as in hybrid mode. I'm thankful to all those authors who sent their articles for this conference. And congratulations to the department for organizing this event, wherein the participant will not just get opportunity to publish the article, but opportunity to interact with each other. Maybe the conference will end by today's day end, but then the interaction should be there. If any faculty is doing some experiments, some exercises that can be communicated, so that the others will also try to those new innovative things, wherein it will be helpful to improve as a community. We as a teacher has to always think of improvement of the community, improvement of the society. What I am supposed to do and what will be my contribution for my society should be the major aspect from everybody of us who is teacher. This, once again, I express my gratitude to the all dignitaries and all session chairs, all chief guests and other people, and congratulate to the department. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Vikram Patil sir, for your inspiring words and great insights. Last but not the least, we have the vote of thanks by Professor Dr. S.B. Mari sir. I request Dr. S.B. Mari sir for a vote of thanks.
I'm here to express a vote of thanks on behalf of Basic Science Department. So I would like to refer here some important things like first of all, I appreciate and thankful. I'm thankful to all participants who are from different states. There are about 10 to 13 states are there from where the participants are there, like Punjab, UP, MP, Karnataka, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Assam, Tamil Nadu, Chandigarh, West Bengal, as well as there is one person who is from Bangladesh. So this national conference becomes like an international conference. So I appreciate the efforts of basic science faculty as well as other PC team members. Again, I am also thankful to our guide and mentor, we can say, Professor S.S. Mohite sir. Again, those people or the dignitaries, persons, they are here like Dr. Jadhav sir, DN R&D, he is here giving his valuable time. Again, Dr. Gopinath sir, Dean Academics, again, who has given us the innovative things that we should have in communication skill, the guidance that is given by our Dr. Vikram Patil sir, Director, ADCET. Again, I have heard many times Dr. PM Patil sir in ACS College, also I was there for some days, and I have also listened his lectures many times when he was teaching linguistic, which is one of the difficult subject. And that subject he was teaching in a very simple way, and I get delighted with that subject because his teaching method is very simple and good one. Again, those most important, we can say, resource person are there. In short period of time, they agreed to participate and join this conference, like Dr. Ashok Thorat sir, again Dr. Badikar sir, Dr. A.M. Saravade sir, and other members who are also chairing as a paper presentation session, like Dr. Uttam Jadhav sir from ESGU, again Professor Suryakant Parkale sir, who is from Panvel College. Again, other members like who are present here in a physical mode, Sandeep Barge sir from ACS College, Mahesh Mari sir from Kadipur College, and Dr. Bamble sir from KRB College, Islampur. Again, all the research scholars who are from Shivaji University, Kolhapur, they are also present here. So I am also thankful to all these peoples. And now the next session, which is online mode, and in that, first of all, Dr. Ashok Thorat sir, he will start the session. And I am also thankful to all the people. So the first session is over. I announce that the online mode is started. Thank you. So all the participants are requested to stay in online mode. So Dr. Ashok Thorat sir will start the session in 2 minutes. So all the participants who are in online mode, let me introduce our first resource person, who is Dr. Ashok Thorat sir, and I will give you a brief introduction about this. This is a good and great personality which is before us. He is the founder and director of IASE Institute of Advanced Studies in English, Aund, Pune. Near about 38 PhD candidates he has guided and 44 MPhil candidates guided. Again, he has near about 40 years experience in different areas from Pune University as well as others. Again, near about 14 books he has published, 44 research papers that are there which are published. Again, some major roles he has done, like Dean of Faculty of Arts and Fine Arts, University of Pune for 11 years. Again, Chairman, Board of Studies, Pune, member academic of an academic council for 20 years. Again, presently Chairman of Board of Studies for Digital Humanities, SP College, Pune. Again, presently member of Academic Council, SPPU and DCDU Pune. So we have a great personality here. Again, we can say that he is a member and chair of several important UGC, MHRD committees and nominated different posts and chairs. Again, with this special occasion, I can say that I would like to invite Dr. Ashok Thorat sir to start their valuable words and give the guidance to the students. Yes, over to you, Dr. Ashok Thorat sir.
Desktopची screen. Sir, you are not audible yet, Mana.
Sir,
You are not audible. थोड़ा सा ना mic बंद है.
sir, your mic is off. Please turn on.
ते बोलता है डायरेक्ट कॉल करना था ना कॉल करो
So participants, just wait for 1 or 2 minutes.
कॉल करो नंबर देते करो सारा नंबर आहे त्याचा आवाज येत नाही हे नका त्यांचं
एक मिनिट सर एक मिनिट आपण सेटिंग काय केले
सगळ्यांना मीट केलं का?
Sir, give us a moment. We are doing it.
हॅलो आवाज आवाज घेतला
सर तुम्ही पण ऑनलाईन रजिस्ट्रेशन केलं ऑनलाईन
दोन जण आहेत
Yes, now I've been unmuted. I hope I'm audible to everyone now. Am I right?
Yes, sir, you are. Yes, sir, you are audible.
I'm audible now. Thank you very much. So let me begin. Professor Mari has been insisting on me speaking about something related to technology or technical tools or what I gathered from your phone, he perhaps wants me to talk about digital literacy, the mentioned in your brochure, digital literacy among students and teachers. Now, this conference is being organized by an engineering institution, and I believe that the participants are mainly from engineering faculty, teachers, and students. So they may be better digitally equipped than I am, because I'm a hardcore humanities person. But today I have decided to speak on digital literacy in my own way. And whenever I speak about new topics, I normally cite my own examples, my own experiments, my own struggles, my own failures, my own successes. So it would be a kind of my own story revealed in the form of a loud thinking or public speech, but something that I've been actually thinking of or practicing or doing in my own office, in my institute with technology. But before I go to that, I would like to speak a little bit about digital literacy, because we need to keep things in proper perspective. What do we mean by digital literacy? Digital literacy is a very vast subject. It starts from using the keyboard for using Microsoft Office functions, and it goes up to ChatGPT and AI and whatnot. That also includes programming and coding and n number of things that no single human being, no single group of experts can claim expertise in. Not even a computer science teacher or a computer science expert. It's so vast. So I'm going to talk about digital literacy in brief, so that I create a kind of framework for my speech later on. And this, of course, are the thoughts collected from the internet, because I have to be a little bit theoretical before I proceed to the application part or applied part or the practice part. While looking for digital literacy, I browsed into Western Sydney University website, and on their homepage they have given a very good definition of digital literacy. It says digital literacy means having the skills you need to live, learn, and work in a society where communication and access to information is increasingly through digital technologies like internet platforms, social media, and mobile devices. Now, if you look at this definition carefully, you would understand digital literacy is related to every one of us, because we all live, we all learn, and we all work in a society that is dominated by .com revolution. We all have been using internet platforms, we all have been using social media, we all have been using mobile devices. And therefore, the term digital literacy is related to you, me, and everyone around us. To use other words, digital literacy lies in using technology to access, manage, manipulate, and create information in an ethical and sustainable way. And therefore, it's a kind of continual learning process. We call it lifelong learning. Continual learning process because of constant new apps and updates. Technology keeps changing, the demands of technology keep changing, and we always need to upgrade ourselves, upskill ourselves, update ourselves in terms of skills with which we encounter newer and newer technology. In your workplace, wherever you are, in college, institute, corporate sector, bank, or wherever, in any workplace, you will be required to interact with people in digital environments, use information in appropriate ways, and create new ideas and products collaboratively. This word collaboratively is extremely important, which I'm going to highlight throughout my speech. Above all, you will need to maintain your digital identity and well-being as the digital landscape continues to change it at a fast pace. These words recur: fast pace, changing demands, the dynamic technology, and so on and so forth. So I'll just sum up whatever I've said so far. Digital literacy is the ability to access, manage, understand, integrate, communicate, evaluate, and create information. Whether it is in employment, whether it is in your studies, whether it is in a job, or in an entrepreneurship. It includes competencies that are variously referred to as computer literacy, ICT literacy, information literacy, or media literacy. The related concept of information literacy consists of providing people with concepts and training in order to process data and transform them into information, knowledge, and decisions. We are not only related to data as information, but also data as knowledge and data for decision making. You all need to understand this, imbibe this, and bring it into practice in your day-to-day life. It includes methods to search and evaluate information. That's what we do when we surf. So it includes methods to search and evaluate information, elements of information culture and its ethical aspects, as well as methodological and ethical aspects for communication in the digital world. So, digital literacy should be understood to mean the basic skill or ability to use a computer confidently, safely, and effectively. To use the computer, remember, we have been using computer every day, but I'm adding these adjectives: to use a computer confidently, safely, and effectively, including the ability to use office software such as word processors, email and presentation software, the ability to create and edit images, audio and video, and the ability to use a web browser and internet search engines. We have been always busy searching something or the other, but we have to upgrade our skills of browsing. So, while literacy refers to reading and writing, right? And in the first standard or second standard, we try to develop that kind of literacy related to reading and writing. So, basic dictionary meaning of literacy is nothing but an ability to read and pull information from print sources like books and magazines and newspaper articles and so on and so forth. Digital literacy goes a step ahead. It is a technological component. So, digital literacy requires people to not only know how to find information on the internet, but also how to access sources and digest information that might be shown in various formats. It may be visual, it may be in a audio format, it may be in a image format. Words are looked at as image here. So in different formats, the information is presented to you, and you have to make the sense of that. An example of digital literacy might be a person creating a blog about a topic that they find interesting. Some of you may be writing blogs, and if you don't write, I think you should start writing blogs. So create a blog. Now, creating a blog needs a little bit of knowledge of how to create a blog. It is not as complex as creating a website. Creating a blog is simple. It's a matter of 2 or 3 minutes to create your own blog, and then you can keep adding your blogs every week, every month, every 3 months. And this blog reaches to thousands of people in your contact. So, this is one of the examples of digital literacy. The author of the site, that is one who creates the blog, would need to understand how to formulate the site in a way that is visually appealing. Now, look, when you create a blog, you need to make it aesthetically better, aesthetically appealing, as well as the process needed to transfer ideas from their head to the internet. So, whatever ideas you have in your head, they are going to be transferred to the internet, and through internet, they are going to reach up to n number of people. This is just one example of digital literacy. There are many examples which I'm going to cite throughout my speech in the next 30 or 40 minutes. But let us look at the benefits of digital literacy. Why do we really need digital literacy? 50 years back, 100 years back, we insisted on plain literacy, that is, ability to read and write in a print format or by hand. If you understand digital information, or if you are dealing with understanding digital information, it has many advantages for oneself and for the society. Now, some of the benefits are digital literacy helps you obtain and expand information quickly and up to date. Whenever I talk to my PhD scholars, I often distinguish secondary sources along an axis, and that axis is of authenticity versus up to dateness. The books are the most authentic sources for researchers. Internet is least authentic. Okay, and the reason is very simple. Book is written after a lot of consideration, reconsideration, reflection, and introspection, checking and rechecking, modeling, remodeling, revising, editing, correcting, improving, updating, upgrading. It takes a year or 2 or even 3 years for completing a book and getting it published. And precisely for that reason, that is the most authentic source. Whereas internet is mostly spontaneous or impromptu. I think of something and immediately I sit at the computer and type it and make it public. So it's a fast medium and therefore it is less authentic compared to the book. But if you look at the up to dateness, book is the least up to date and internet is the most up to date source for researchers. Because by the time a book is published, it takes 2 years or 3 years and by then it gets outdated like yesterday's newspaper. But the internet gives you information at that particular moment. I'll give you a very simple example. If you visit a website, let me just check for a second. If you visit a website called https:// populationmatters.org, populationmatters.org. Now this is 11:40, okay, 11:40 a.m. on the 15th of April 2023. At 11:40, what is the population of the world? You will get the exact figure for that particular minute on populationmatters.org. Do you think any book can give you this? Impossible. In fact, we always laugh at the books related to income tax in commerce faculty. There are books on income tax in commerce faculty which teach the tax provisions or rules related to tax or rebates or slabs which belong to the last year's budget. So even a subject of your day-to-day concern is taught in an outdated fashion in commerce faculty, in all the colleges, all the institutes, all the universities. This is what happens when you rely on print media. Whereas if you want to know something absolutely current, something that is happening at the moment that you are speaking or participating in a discussion, then you need to visit internet. There's no alternative. So this is one of the most important advantages of digital literacy. If you know a site, if you know how to surf, if you know how to browse, if you know how to extract information, you can be absolutely updated and ahead of not only books, but of your teachers, of the experts, of anybody in this world. So this is one most important advantage of digital literacy. Second, the use of the internet in the digital era makes a person indirectly learn and practice skills. Like when you are going to cook, for example. I'm giving a day-to-day example again. If you are going to cook but don't know for sure what spices to use or what components to add, everything can be seen and learned through the internet. Just a sec, please. So any of your problems in day-to-day life can be solved if you have digital literacy. The use of internet references anywhere and anytime has proven that the emergence of digital literacy can save time. Today's internet can be accessed using sophisticated mobile phones, so there is no need to think about what device to use. This is something very, very important. If you look at the devices or improvement in the devices, this computer world began with big frame computers in the 40s, almost of a size of a small room. In 80s came desktops, and towards the end of the century, mobile phones. And today we have smartphones with variety of functions. Our smartphones are just like computers. So when I'm traveling to Nagpur, for example, I just check on Google Maps how much is the distance, how much is the density of traffic on the roads, and if there is density, I change my route. Google helps me change my route. It gives me alternatives, and that saves my time, that saves my energy, that saves my inconvenience, that saves me from various hurdles. Look at the convenience that it brings to your life. And therefore digital literacy is extremely important aspect of any learning in any educational institution. Above all, every one of us is looking for and adding new friends from various regions. Now Professor Mali told that someone from Bangladesh had joined this conference. So a national conference has become an international conference. This is because of digital literacy, nothing else. Just see how important digital literacy is. You are adding friends not only from your place, but from various regions, from various countries, from various continents. The new thing that is now increasingly considered as a culture and habit is the ease of using the internet. Communicating also is facilitated by social media. If you look at Google Classroom, for example, the teachers can send assignments, conduct lessons, collect assignments, check assignments, mark, declare results through Google Classroom. So you don't have to really encroach upon your students' time and energy. The student doesn't have to encroach upon the teacher's time and energy. Everything is facilitated. I'll give you a few examples from my own experimentation with digital literacy now. I am running a research institute in Pune, having masters in English and PhD in English, conventional courses. But I use technology a lot. For example, if you go to Microsoft, if you start your computer and you are on the home page, in Microsoft Word, you have a banner. And on the banner, there's a link called preview, Preview, preview. You can check it if you have the mobile phones or laptops with you now, right now. If you click preview, a pop-up will or drop-up will appear in which you will get an option for new comment. Now, how to use this? My students, for example, submit their assignments in Word form, email to me. I download that file, save it on my desktop, and then start using this function of review. So I open my file, the assignment of the student, 2 pages, 3 pages, 5 pages, or 10 pages, and I click review, and then I read the draft, and if I have something to say about a line or a paragraph or a word, I select that and click on new comment. In the margin, either on the right side or the left side, a window opens. I write my comment into that window. I go on reading the whole draft for 10 pages, write my comments on the left hand side margin, I save it, and then I email the same saved draft to the student back. So what happens? The students knows what are my comments, what are my suggestions, and where are they in the first paragraph, second paragraph, last paragraph, conclusion, introduction, body, wrap, whatever. Accordingly, the student revises the draft, and in the revised draft, The student also uses the same function of review and new comment, and in the and also creates windows in the margin and gives explanation for each of my comments. For example, if I have raised the question, what is the source of this idea? The student writes into his comment, I have taken it from XYZ book, and here are the bibliographical details of the book. This is how the student replies to every of my comment, saves it, and emails that draft to me. So I get explanation to all my doubts, suggestions, comments, additions, deletions, whatever. Suppose I resend it to the student with fresh comments, and student resends it to me with replies to those fresh comments. I have an option. I can go to legal draft and click there, and I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 versions of the draft. The basic version, then second version where my suggestions were incorporated, third version where my fresh suggestions are incorporated, and I can compare version by version by version by version, and thereby check the progression in terms of draft, style, language, everything. Just imagine in day-to-day life, if you practice this, why do you have to call a student from 50 kilometers or 100 kilometers to 200 kilometers? In a city like Pune, for example, traveling 15 kilometers sometimes takes 2 clock hours. So I tell the student, stay in your place. Just email to me whatever you want me to read. The student emails it, and within an hour or so, I respond. So the traveling time that would have been otherwise wasted is utilized for this intellectual exercise, for editing, for commenting, for suggesting, for improving, for curating. And this is how we work in our institute, a conventional institute. And this is how digital literacy helps us. This is just one example that I've given you. I will give you some more examples so that, and examples that perhaps some of you know. During COVID in 2020, we all were homebound, and every one of us was not only bothered and tortured because of the figures, but wanted to know the truth. What are the exact figures? What are the correct figures? What are the authentic figures? Figures related to patients, that is number of patients, figures related to people who have recovered, figures related to people who have succumbed, figures related to people who are still admitted, people who are critical, and so on and so forth. And patients within your city, patients within your state, patients within your country, patients globally. Considering these needs, look, these were the needs of every citizen, not only of government, not only of doctors, not only of patients, but every citizen of the world, 800 crore citizens of the world. So one organization called World O Meter, this organization created a site, and the site is www.worldometers.info oblique coronavirus. Even if you type right now in your laptop, it will open and it will give you data for all the countries, all the states, all the cities, all the regions, and authentic figures. And they also tell you from where this information has been sought. All this information has been collected from government sources. Every government has, whether state or federal government, has health department which released figures every evening and every morning, and those figures were processed by approximately 5,000 editors in Worldometer site, and that edited, curated information was displayed in the form of a small globe. This is something very interesting, and the globe is seen on https:// covidvisualizer.com. If you type this on your laptop, a globe will appear, and that globe is revolving. When it revolves, if it comes to, let us say, India, click India, and the figures for India will open. Within India, click Maharashtra, and all the figures for Maharashtra will open. Within Maharashtra, click Sangli, and all the figures related to Sangli district will open. Imagine you are at your home, bothered by the figures, waiting for authentic information, and this globe provides you handy information which is revised every 3 hours. Imagine digital literacy, the advantages of digital literacy. And I personally feel that whether you're a student of language, whether you're a student of literature, whether you're a student of technology, whether you're a student of science or a student of medicine, you need all these gadgets, all these skills, all these hands on exercises, and so on and so forth. Now, I have a very interesting example where we use Google Maps. You all must be using Google Maps, right? Suppose someone starts from Sangli to Pune, he or she is prone to putting the name of the destination and your location. You must be familiar with this. And if you are not, I think you should get familiar with this instantly without any delay. Google Maps is a small app which you can download on your mobile. So, what happens is once you select your destination, I, for example, when I want to go from my house to Pune University, I put on Google Map Pune University as destination, and my location is already on, so it comes there as Usha Manor, my residence. Now, what I can do is I can send my live location to a friend or someone who is waiting for me in the University of Pune, so that the person knows how many minutes I'll take to reach Pune University. I also come to know about how much time I'll require to reach Pune University. If there is density of traffic on a particular road, the Google map will suggest me an alternative. Don't take this road, take the other road. If that road is also congested, it diverts me to some other road and ensures that it reaches me Pune University in as less time as possible. This is the use of digital literacy. Now, you might ask me a very simple question, especially Professor Mali, who talked a lot about, the chief guest who talked about literature and language, might ask me a question: what has it to do with literature and language? Let me tell you one thing. One of my students from Jharkhand, she has come from Jharkhand to do PhD in my institute, that is Institute of Advanced Studies in English in Pune. During coronavirus, that is COVID days and lockdowns, she was extremely bothered by the plight of migrant workers. You must have read in newspapers that after the first lockdown was lifted, and before we jumped into the second lockdown, these workers who had lost their jobs, who had no money left with them, no food left with them, no support, no counseling, no monitoring, no transport, no medicine, no public services available. They were left with no option but to walk towards their homes. Some of them walked for 600 kilometers, some of them walked for 800 kilometers, some of them walked for 1000 kilometers, 1200 kilometers. Some of them died on the way. Old men, children, boys, girls, females, males, old women, everybody started walking in flocks, carrying their luggage on their back or bicycle or motorbike if they had at all, but there was no petrol available. So mostly on foot. So they walked and walked and walked and walked. Most of them reached the destination. Some of them gave up on the way. Those who reached the destination, they have been still narrating their sad tales to everyone around. Now, this student who was bothered by this received a few calls from relatives in Jharkhand telling her that 20 workers reached Jharkhand from Pune after 10 days or 12 days, and they had so many difficulties on the way. And she told me, sir, I would like to do research on this particular phenomenon. Now, someone would ask me, how does it fit into PhD in English or PhD in literature or PhD in language? Professor, the chief guest also defined literature. Literature is a cross section of society. It enhances empathy. It sensitizes reader towards social problems, cultural problems. Because we work within humanities, and humanities is all about human experience, human plight, human nature, human condition, everything that is human. And this is human condition, this is human predicament. She would like to study the human condition with specific reference to migrant workers. And she did that. Within 6 months or so, she came out with a proper research design, and telephonically she discussed it with me. We got her registered in Pune University. She is now halfway through, and she's going to create. Now she is, with the help of digital tools, with this GPS mapping, Google map that I mentioned just now, she is recreating the journey of 10 days, 12 days. She is recreating the journey for about 50 migrant workers who fled from Pune, Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Delhi, and Bangalore. She is recreating the journey. Every day is accounted for, from morning till evening, how they started, what happened on the way, where they stopped, whether they got the food, where they were helped, where they were harassed, where they were shooed off, where they were supported, where the public authorities like police and others helped them or supported them or did not support them, and everything. So the whole thing is being recreated in the form of an archive with the help of GPS mapping. She is recreating the whole journey. Imagine, in print form, books last 50 years, 100 years, or 200 years. In digital form, this recreated journey will remain forever, number one. Number two, it will be seen, read, visited, understood, browsed all over the world. And this human predicament, which was universal in those days, which was a talk of people all over the world, will give them a dimension which I would call Indian dimension or post-colonial dimension. And this dimension
Hello, that is not audible.
Yeah, I think while muting the others, I automatically get muted. This is also a disadvantage of digital literacy. But anyway, uh, I have a very good example of language people using or leveraging technology for some social good. I'm talking about language people. Unfortunately, I'll emphasize this word unfortunately. Repeatedly, I'll say unfortunately. Language and literature people are terribly stuck in structural linguistics like phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, or novels and dramas and poetry. That is not all about language and literature. Please remember, That is not all about language and literature. I'm repeating my statements because this misconception I've been blasting everywhere in the world. I've been speaking in national conferences and international conferences, but it needs to be blasted and removed as soon as possible. Novel, drama, and poetry is not only literature. I write blogs. That also is literature. Now e-novels are coming. Now collaborative poems are coming. Collaborative novels are coming. Forms are changing. New genres are being created. I have created a genre called data fiction, and I'm going to write 20 articles on this data fiction, and afterward they'll collect them and publish in the form of a novel. It will be a data fiction. Nobody has heard about this, but let me tell you, this also is literature. Conventional novels, dramas, and stories which are set into the period 50 years back, 100 years back, 200 years back, 500 years back, always takes you back into the history, whereas literature also can be futuristic. Science fiction, for example, is extremely futuristic, is extremely predictive, is extremely nexting, and therefore we need to look at literature in a different angle. Something similar happens with language. Language is not only grammar and phonology and morphology and syntax and ELT. Language is something that you cannot live without, just like breathing. You cannot live without oxygen. Something similar about language can be said. You cannot live without language. If that is the case, we need to put language in a different perspective now. So, what language teachers are doing today in India, I'm not talking about America or Canada or any other uh, country. I'm talking about India. In the south of India, there is a university having Department of English, and this university sent a proposal to the central government of India for funding. Department of English. Remember, I'm repeating it, Department of English. Otherwise, you might think that Dr. Thora, the teacher of English, is talking only about digital literacy and technology. Department of English from a South Indian university. I'm purposefully not mentioning the name because I have sanctioned that proposal. I have given them 1.67 crore rupees for 3 years. And because I'm a decision maker, I cannot reveal the name. So this university submitted a proposal through Department of English, and look at the proposal. The proposal is about safe behavior on the internet. Now, this is all about communication on the internet or in networked environments. You can understand well. Isn't communication a property of language? But when you talk of communication, we absolutely, conventionally, and casually talk about vertical communication, horizontal communication, top-down communication, bottom-up communication, all that is outdated today. Okay. Now look at the way these people think of communication. Communication in network environments or online communication has certain characteristics. Along with that, there are certain threats in online communication. And especially the adolescents, they are at more risk. Now, what are the risks? They can be easily lured into some offers towards certain online games, towards certain titillating offers, harmful friendships, certain plots, schemes, even pornography. And therefore the title, Safe Behavior on the Internet. Okay. Now, look at the second aspect of this proposal. They want to identify these slippery areas or these risk zones in online communication. And risk zones, keeping adolescents in mind, not the adults, okay? Only adolescents in mind. how adolescents are exploited, extracted, misused, or channelized in a very harmful way. Okay. So they are going to identify those risks in, because anyway, computer, internet, whatever it is, you can study it by recognizing patterns. Computer is good at recognizing patterns. That is what is the difference between human beings and computer. So they are going to identify these risks, recognize certain patterns of communication, and are going to analyze those risk zones thoroughly. And while analyzing, they'll find out what are the major slippery areas, what are the major reasons or causes which result into this kind of malfunctioning or maltreatment of adolescents. And then they're going to create solutions on that. Every problem identified will have certain solution. So after 3 years, they're going to come out with an application. And that application will, of course, be owned by Government of India. And that application will be installed freely in the mobile phones of parents, teachers, and adolescents. And that application will provide certain things. Number one, the moment a child is indulging into something that he or she should not, or entering into a risk zone, or entering into some harmful activity, the child will be alarmed, alerted. If the child is alerted, that is not the end. The child will also be guided, counseled to come out of that risk zone. And if despite this the child doesn't come out of that risk zone, an alert will be sent to the parents and teachers. And parents and teachers will be further guided how to bring the child out of this risk zone without encroaching upon child's communication for some ethical purposes, because child's freedom also needs to be protected. So this is how this application is going to be built over a period of 3 years, and then it will be installed into mobile phones of teachers, parents, and students. And even if we achieve, let us say, 75%, 80% effectivity or success rate in getting children out of these risk zones, I think this project will have achieved a lot. And precisely for this reason, they got 1 crore and 67 lakh rupees as funding from Ministry of Education, Government of India. So this is what a Department of English is doing. They are studying communication. They are studying problems in communication, whereas our conventional teachers are studying problems in learning fricatives, problems in learning nasals, and so on and so forth. So we are still outdated. We are still using old practices, and we need to change. The language and literature teachers need to change a lot. And that is why I gave you this example. Now the question is, how do we really look at this digital literacy? Look, basically, this is generative. You generate something. A traditional objection to humanities, especially from the corners of science and technology people, has been humanities are not creative. Humanities are not productive. Governments have been thinking along these lines, and that is why all funding goes towards science and technology in India, in United States, in Japan, in China, in every country. In 1957, when Sputnik went into the sky, you know, Sputnik was sent by Russia. And then United States felt threatened, and they launched their own rockets, one after the other. And the competition began. We call it a Cold War. During this Cold War, from 1957 to 61, hardly 4 years, within 4 years, the research budget of America, research budget of the entire America, United States of America, 97% of that was diverted towards science and technology. 97%. Hardly 3% was left for humanities, social sciences, and other faculties. So look at this lopsided treatment. And the thought behind this injustice to humanities was humanities are not productive, humanities are not creative. The same thought dominated Indian policymakers. And that is why humanities today are dying in India, literally dying. I can give you data about that because I am a digitally literate person and I have a huge data with me. So, this idea that humanities are non productive, humanities are non creative, is being shuttered by new generation. And one of the examples is this safe behavior on the internet. I can give you 10 examples of this kind because I have sanctioned 37 projects of this kind in India. All the 37 projects got more than 1 crore grant, from 1 crore to 1.5, 1.7 crore grant. I can cite 10 examples, but the time will not permit. So, humanities, because of the incorporation of digital technology, have become productive, have become generative. Secondly, humanities have become collaborative. This word collaborative is simple to look at, but very complex to practice. And especially for humanities scholars. Because in humanities, unfortunately, again, every humanities scholar has been working for individual scholarship, working for individual growth, working for individual height and individual credit. Check with any humanities scholar and you can name X, Y, Z is expert in this field, ABC is expert in that field, and there is no challenge, there is no competition, there is no parallel. So humanities scholars want to grow in such a manner that there can't be a parallel to them. This has been our intention, this has been our motivation, this has been our incentive throughout our life and career, which is absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. So what is right then? The best thing is to build a team. If I am an expert in digital literacy, for example, 4 days back, I went to my native place, small village having 6,000 population. I collected 40 students from the village and started giving them lessons in digital literacy. Now they are at the tip of their finger telling me how many tigers are there in India, how many tigers are there in Maharashtra, what is the population of India, what is the population of Maharashtra, what is the population of my village, what is the population of my district. Children from schools have been giving me this data at the tip of their fingers. So building teams is the real social work. Building teams is the real human service. Building teams is the real enrichment of a society, of a culture, of a country. And therefore, the new norm in humanities is collaboration. The project that we sanctioned 1.67 crore rupees for safe behavior on the internet is being carried out through collaboration. There are 9 to 10 experts working on this project. 2 are from that university, 2 are from a neighboring university, 2 are from an American university, 2 are from a Netherlands university, and 2 of them from some other university. So experts from different fields come together. They bring together expertise, their experience, different skill sets, and they have been making this I'm talking about humanities. Please remember, I'm not talking about technology or science or any other field. And I'm repeating this for the sake of literature and language people. Third is, this is experiential. Humanities have been growingly becoming experiential. Now, what is experiential? Learning has to be experiential. If learning is rote, memory based, that memory is erased after 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. If it is rote learning, you forget the moment examination is over. And therefore, rote learning is not promoted in India in any policy, including National Education Policy 2020. It has to be experiential. When I do things, I experience something. So merely bookish, merely pedagogic, merely theoretical things are not valued anymore. And remember very well, this is in the fitness of things. This is useful for humanities as well as science and technology students and teachers. The thought that all over the world, jobs are secured by the people who are equipped with universal set of skills. Domain knowledge no more helps you get a job. If you are an engineer or a PhD in English or a PhD in Marathi or a history or geography or psychology, you're not going to get a job because of your degree. If you get a job, they will train you for 6 months because they know that your degree is of no use for them. And therefore, domain knowledge, which helped us long back, 50 years back, I got a job, 40 years back, I got a job without interview because I had that bag full of knowledge and that was certified by the degree MA English. Now, MA English doesn't get a job. PhD English doesn't get a job. So, what are the job giving people looking for? And this is useful for both engineering, science, technology, humanities, social sciences people. What are the job giving people looking for? They are looking for skills, especially the transferable skills, which keep you updated, upgraded, useful, relevant for the working place. And some of those skills are obviously communication, collaboration, team building, decision making, critical thinking. These are the skills which are nurtured mainly in humanities. And that is why humanities, which have lost their importance, humanities, which have lost their spectre, are regaining their importance. And in the next 10 to 15 years, humanities are once again going to be respected, revered, valued, and sought after disciplines, provided that our language and literature teachers change their practices, change their syllabuses, change their aptitude, change their approach, change their methodologies, and change them from within and without. And therefore, I say that experiential component is being added to language and literature learning and teaching. So, first was generative, second was collaborative, and third was experiential. And the fourth and the last one that I'm going to talk, and then I'll stop for question answer. Fourth one is democratic. Democratic means cutting across disciplines. If I'm a student of English and if I'm allergic to computer, I am doomed. If I'm a student of Marathi, Hindi, and I'm allergic to, let us say, internet, I am doomed. If I'm a lover of a novel or aesthetics or some beautiful poem or a play and don't value anything else beyond that, then I'm doomed. So what I need to do is, I love language, I love novel, I love poetry, but I also love technology. I also practice technology. I also incorporate technology. I also value in network communication. I also analyze network communication. I'm also a good browser. I extract information. I create data. I curate data. I update data. I know some data visualization practices. I know some. I am basically a design thinker. So these computer related or data related or internet related or digital related practices have been imbibed by me, and then I can be a better English teacher, I can be a better teacher of novel, I can be a better teacher of poetry, I can be a better teacher, better human being, successful person in my life. And therefore I have to be multidisciplinary, I have to be multitasker. I cannot go in one fixed direction decided by my workload, mandated by the government, that you are appointed as an English teacher and don't look into Hindi, don't look into science, don't look into mathematics. No, that will be a stupidity committed by teachers, committed by governments, committed by policymakers. Today is the time when an English teacher may also be required to teach constitution, may also be required to cyber security, may also be required to teach environment science, may also be required to talk about sustainable development goals adopted by United Nations Organization 1917, and so on and so forth. So we have to be multitaskers, and the same is applicable to engineering students and teachers. They cannot say that we are nowhere concerned with literature or language. They also have to incorporate, imbibe the principles that govern human life, which are reflected into language and literature. And therefore, being democratic is another valuable thing. So, with these four important keywords: generative, collaborative, experimental, and democratic, I will end my speech and I'll open it for discussion, challenges, attacks, or if you feel like you can disagree with me, you can make suggestions, you can make additions. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good
Will
afternoon.
you share these details of websites where we can get the COVID-19 details, which you have already shared with us, but right now I didn't remember.
I'll do one thing. I'll type in the chat box, right?
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, just give me half a minute.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All the three useful links have been shared to you. Any questions? I think we still have 5 minutes or so, right? I mean, I'm not sure about the timing.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, actually, I heard that our Pune University and the institutes are starting the masters in digital humanities. Can you share
Yes.
few things related?
Yeah,
Yes,
sure.
sir,
I'll be
please.
very happy to talk about that because this is the first experiment in the country. In fact, we are the pioneers in digital humanities. In 2014, we launched a Center for Digital Humanities in Pune in my institute. And since then, it has been taken up by different IITs in India. And finally, we had a couple of meetings in different places like Bangalore and elsewhere. And then in 2018, no, 2016, we met in Indore IIT, and constituted a national level body called Dharti, that is for Digital Humanities Alliance for Teaching and Research, etc. And there onwards, humanities has become a buzzword in India. In 2018, the UGC adopted digital humanities as a thrust area for research. In 2019, I was appointed as a chair for digital humanities at the national level for uh, awarding funds through Spark initiative of Government of India. And then UGC started recognizing digital humanities courses at university level. Jodhpur IIT has started MSc in digital humanities, but we have started MA in digital humanities. We purposefully retained this title MA because we would like the humanities students to attend this course on at the maximum in maximum number. Now, this is a 2-year course like any other course, but this is mainly for uh, acquainting students with the emergence of humanities into digital humanities, or in other words, journey of traditional humanities towards digital humanities. And this progression has been highlighted in the first 2 semesters, which we call foundational semesters. And in the next 2 semesters, it's all practical, especially project related activities, designing a project, preparing for a project, and then finally in the 4th semester, executing a project. And these projects are based on these 4 principles like generative, collaborative, experiential, and democratic, and obviously integrated technology mediated projects. And this also is called internship because we expect most of the students to be working with Pune Municipal Corporation or some industry or some archaeology institute of the government of India or state of Maharashtra, etc., etc. So these are all job oriented developments, skill oriented developments, and we don't have rigidity as far as teaching and learning is concerned. Students will have 100% leverage in the 3rd and 4th semester. In the first and second semester, they'll be partly teaching, and that also would be interactive. So this is a course which is designed along absolutely new principles of learning, teaching, and classroom practices. Frankly speaking, we would like to take all our students outside the classroom and make them work with community. For example, Pune has huge problems related to drainage. So we are likely to collaborate with Pune Municipal Corporation and tell them we will study your drainage problems and come out with solutions for your problems. And that project has to be funded by Pune Municipal Corporation, and our students will be working on that project. So half a dozen students will be engaged into that project. We have some projects related to oral history. We have some projects related to archiving, visual designing, etc., etc. And we may enter into collaboration with half a dozen public bodies as well as corporate sectors as a part of our curriculum and program. So this is not like MA English or MA Hindi or MA Marathi, where we teach students, give examination, and we distribute certificates. This will be hands-on, experiential, curative, collaborative, generative, production-oriented program. And within 2 years, most of the students are expected to be entrepreneurs, not beggars for jobs. So that is, in a nutshell, our digital humanities program in Pune University, which we are planning to start from July 2023.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And congratulations for taking such kinds of initiatives.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
First time in India. Thank you so much.
You would be surprised, the first board of studies constituted for this subject. Even if I am chairing this board, the members are absolutely distinguished. One of them is the doctorate from Stanford University, America. The second one is a doctorate from Frankfurt Institute of, Florida Institute of Technology, Miami. Third one is a theory expert. And the fourth one is from clinical psychology. And I am chairing that board without knowing much about all these disciplines. This is a very different kind of constitution altogether. Yes, sure. Mhm, mhm. Mhm. Actually, for research, there are no boundaries. Anyone from any country can work on any field. For example, in South Korea, there is a special center called South Asia Studies. Okay, there is special organization called uh, uh, India Education Studies. Okay, and I have published my papers through their journal long time ago. So there are countries where they have been studying literature and languages of other countries. So why can't a Philippines person study Indian languages or Indian literature? There's no harm, for literature, for research, there's no bound, there's no limitation. Yep. Public speaking. In fact, when you think of career is always a personal choice. There's nothing like 100 people pursuing the same career or 500 people pursuing the same career or half the class that you teach pursuing the same career. Every individual is unique, and his or her likes and preferences and potentials and capabilities and skills also are person related. And therefore, if you have a flair in public speaking, for example, you can make a career in public speaking. But then whatever career you choose, you have to choose it with conviction, number one. Number two, you have to introspect and find out whether you are really cut out for that career. And number three, you should also think of the service that you are going to render through pursuing that career. If you are doing it only for your sake, personal sake, then sometimes there is a chance of setback. But if you are achieving some public good, now for example, I'm a public speaker, and wherever I go, I give speeches. Whether people give me honorarium, don't give me honorarium, I don't bother for that. But then I do it because the basic intention is to do good to others, to help others. And that's why I gave you an example. When I go to my native village, I normally go to the school and give a speech there. Not only a speech, but I interact with the students. I spend 3 hours, 4 hours there. So whatever career you pick up, you can be successful provided that there is thrust from within. Secondly, you are doing some good to others. And thirdly, your potential and your career, they match somewhere. So there's no harm. And there are n number of careers, millions and millions of careers available in today's world, which was not the case 50 years ago. So you can definitely pursue that career. There's no problem at all. I did. Can you be a little more clear because I'm not getting it? Yes. Well, this is another thing. You need to search your own platforms. You need to search the information that you need, because this information also will be unique. The platforms also will be unique. The browsing that we'll be doing will also be unique. So there are no common principles for that. But you have to be a critical thinker, think rightly, choose rightly, search rightly, gather rightly, imbibe rightly, and then excel. So this is your own journey, and the journey is a kind of personality building that suits the career. Career is not just something that is thrust upon you. Career is something for which you build yourself. You grow up to the expectations or requirements of that particular career, and then you succeed in that career. So you have to march towards the career, prepare yourself for the career. There are no common things like visit these 5 websites, visit these 4 platforms, and have these 4 applications. There are hundreds of such uh, 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 guides available on the internet, but I don't know whether they're good or bad, right or wrong, appropriate or inappropriate. There are classes of public speaking, if you know, on YouTube, right? There are channels, but I don't know whether I should advise you to subscribe to those channels. So you have to be judicious, because ultimately it's a question of your life, your career, your precious time, and therefore you have to make the selection. Life is actually a very intelligent game of selection and rejection. So you should select the things that suit you, your needs, and reject the things that you don't need. Yeah. Thank you very much. I enjoyed interacting with you all. Have a nice time. Right.
Thank you very much, sir. Good afternoon to everybody. The Department of Basic Sciences of Anna Sahib Dange College of Engineering and Technology, ASTA, organized a wonderful conference online and offline, the hybrid mode. The respected guests on the webinar as well as on the days, and my co-presenters, resource persons, senior professors, Dr. Ashok Thorat, and Professor A.M. Sarvadi, and all the members attending this very interesting conference of teachers discussing English language and literature teaching learning skills. Today, in my session, I would be talking about the major thrust area, English and job market. I would be talking about three important questions here. Why English? What English? And how English? So we have been listening to Professor Thorat so far talking about various aspects of digital uh, aspects of English, how English has been an indispensable part of this country. My talk would be, in fact, a continuation of what Professor Thorat was talking at the end of his talk. And uh, as I spoke about these three important questions, we all need to now think about why English in India, even after 75 years of independence, we have been celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. We have already passed 75 years. And do we still require English in this country? Do we still need to carry forward the language of our colonizer? If yes, why is the question now? We all know that we were talking about the objectives of teaching English in India, the purpose of teaching English in India. Uh, these are changing from time to time. And now the changing paradigms. We need to understand why English is being taught in this country now. Earlier, English was taught as a language of a library, a language of knowledge, window to knowledge. These are the things, language of babus, language of colonizers, language of fashion, passion, all these things. There was a social prestige. Speaking language was English was considered as prestigious issue. Sometimes language of upper class, upper caste. So it was discussed at various levels earlier. But today in 21st century, particularly the day we are now talking about digital India, skill India, and how languages are now being treated at the academia. English is now not just a window to knowledge or library language. English is now considered as language of employment, language of empowerment, language of entertainment. Obviously, in this connection, we need to see English from a different perspective. Even an ordinary man wants his or her child, to get educated in this language. Everyone wants to have English skills as one of the life skills. We are now talking about life skills, job skills, soft skills, communication skills. So now, English is now considered as one of the important skills that everyone wants to acquire to survive in this world. So, why English? There are mainly three important drivers. The three drivers which I come across in one of the books published by BBC, The English Next, I remember. In this, he speaks about English is required for education. Number two, employment. Number three, social mobility. For education, again, we go back to the same thing that English still continues to be one of the important languages, library languages, because a lot of information, a lot of translations happen because English is only the language. We are talking about English as a flexible language. English is the most dynamic language. Although it is heterogeneous language, it has a character to assimilate and all the languages of the world. In this connection, English still holds the position of the best library language. whenever we are talking about the best material for any subject, whether it is basic sciences or physical sciences, life sciences, or humanities or whatever, social sciences, the best material, the best education is possible because whenever we are talking about medical education, engineering education, we still rely much on, in spite of talking about the need for indigenous languages. Of late, there was a great discussion in the national education policy that the local languages should be given priority. But we still need to work a lot to strengthen our local languages before we do away with English. So, in this context, English is still very important for the best education, particularly higher education. We don't endorse the idea that English should be the medium of education at the primary level. So, in this context, English holds an important position even after 75 years. The second thing is language of employment. Why we should know the purpose or why English is that we inspire the students because every student, whatever he or she learns now, everyone practically asks question, what is in it for me in learning spoken English? What is in it for me in learning phonetics? What is in it for me in learning accent? What is in it for me in learning literature? Shakespeare, Milton, Aurobindo, Tagore. They ask a very pertinent question that the purpose behind teaching a particular text. So in this context, we need to tell the students that why they should study English. So, in this context of why, I have explained number one, that is education, because in education itself, we still talk about the need for literature, the need for teaching literature, teaching language through literature, teaching values through literature, teaching the best ethics through literature because humanities still hold an important position in man-making education. We cannot simply talk about only language and its emptiness. Language means language is culture, language is life, language is character. In this connection, language learning through literature gives them lot of knowledge as well as language skills. You teach any author, drama, poems, whatever, it continuously sharpens your mind, widens your understanding. Of course, the very understanding of life. So for that, English is still necessary like any other language because any literature, whether it is literatures in English or literatures in your area, this will help you. It educates you. The second thing is language of employment. Professor Thorat was talking about how English is now considered as one of the important languages, which fetches you a lot of jobs. See, when we talk about globalization, privatization, liberalization, everything is now the shrinking of global boundaries. Because I was talking about digital literacy, knowledge at the fingertips, information at the fingertips. This is called the age of information technology. If 20th century is called age of technology, this 21st century is called age of information technology. In this connection, uh, English language is now playing the role because we see huge movement of multinational companies, huge movement of infrastructure, huge job opportunities created along with that. The new policies of the government, if you look at the recent policies after 1990s, because the markets are now open to everybody, policies are liberalized, and market is globalized. In this connection, anyone can do business in any part of the world. anyone can come down and set up a business. We are now talking about startups. We are now talking about BPOs, KPOs, LPOs, business process outsourcing, knowledge process outsourcing, legal process outsourcing. Variety of outsourcing businesses have entered this country. In this case, NASCOM reports that every year, thousands of jobs are now being created for English learners. It does not mean that local languages do not have any value, but English skills will have a value addition. It means it's what we call add-on courses. Whenever we are talking about add-on courses, whenever we are talking about extra skills, English skills makes a difference. If you are a BSc with English skills, BBA with English skills, BA with English skills, and engineering with English skills, will have more opportunities than a person with the limited language skills. And one more thing you must all know that new industries are coming up these days, like advertisement industry, retailing, hospitality industry, air hostesses, hotel management, and a number of outsourcing jobs. So all these jobs, because we have seen recently TCS coming out with BPS appointments, Infosys coming out with a variety of appointments. So why these appointments are happening? There is a regular appointments which may not be possible in a public sector now. So all these appointments, in fact, have a requirement of minimum skills like aptitude and language aptitude, particularly quantitative aptitude, and all this will bring them a wonderful jobs. So in this context, we should know that the student who studies any conventional course or professional course need to equip himself or herself with extra language skills. That is one of the reasons why English is still in demand across the country. The third important driver, the first one education, the second one employment, and the third important driver for teaching and learning of English in this country is social mobility. So, I was talking about the shrinking of global boundaries. Obviously, cheap communication, cheap transport, and fast technology and information technology, all this has helped people to move from one place to another place without much hassles. Obviously, the policies are liberalized, as I told you. In this connection, there is a social movement. Maybe a husband is working in America, a wife is going there, our wife is working in some other country, the husband is moving there. Even from one state to another state or one country to another country, there is a huge movement of people from one culture to another culture. Obviously, you require language skills. That's why English has been playing a role of lingua franca. That's what we call link language. English is certainly still playing a language. It's a lingua franca where there is an absence of two common languages. You can use English as a link language because many of our friends are going to China, Japan, Germany, France, Australia, America, Saudi Arabia, a variety of countries with different languages, but still they manage with English. So in this connection, English acts as a link language for a huge social mobility. So after learning this, that's what the first point of my talk is, why English is now. I try to explain you why we should still study English. The second question I have raised is what English? I'm asking and answering myself here. What English? What English is required? Should they study English grammar? Should they study English linguistics? Should they study thoroughly all those things? Dear friends, as you know, English required for used today, because whenever we're talking about Padinandi Sasu, La Lang La Parole, knowledge of language and use of language. The focus is now on use of language, the language in context. All the students need not study, all the engineering students need not study all about Shakespeare, all about Milton, all about Aurobindo, all about Tagore. All the literature students may not study all about the computer language, this and that. Every profession carries certain terminology, certain vocabulary, certain language context of communication. Language for communication. There are minimum communication tools which are to be acquired by every speaker. So in this context, average learner need to acquire minimum communicative English to transact. A minimum, say for example, if at all I want to be rather very, very basic about it, you must know how to greet, how to leave, how to explain, how to describe, how to explain a certain incident. These are general part of English that you require minimum. That's what, whenever we are talking about what standard of English is necessary. Here we are talking about minimum neutral English. That's what we call standard English. The accent that you speak should be a neutral accent, which should be understood by all. Apart from that, every company, every corporate company or any company will give their own training in their own jobs. They will acquire in turn. What is necessary for the students today is minimum communication skills, minimum standard accent, not to focus on British issued pronunciation or American issued pronunciation or some kind of what I should say, King's English. We require the basic English, which should be clear, direct, and simple. This is what we always speak when it comes to communication: clarity, simplicity, and directness. So, this kind of English is necessary today in the classroom. If we use any literary text, if we use poem, if we use a one-act play, if we use a prose, a short story, or a fiction, a language teacher need to do two important activities. One, to teach how the language is used. Other, to teach what is the essence of that for life learning. So this kind of English is required today. We most of the time, what happened, many of us have been again giving more and more importance to grammar learning, rote learning. This will not help. We need to create context. We need to create the atmosphere, or what you call the ambience in the classroom, that they should never feel English is a hard nut to crack. So my third question and answer is how English. How speaks about the pedagogy of English. How talks about the important methods that we must use in the classroom today. So in this context, I just want to throw a little light on that. How English should be taught in the classroom. I have two important divisions again, inside the classroom and outside the classroom. English inside the classroom. Whether English is taught only in the English classroom is another question. English is not just the property of English classroom, or English is not just the right of English teacher. English is available in all the classrooms, wherever English, if in engineering department, mechanical engineering teacher, if he or she is using English, that is also one of the Englishes. If a mathematics teacher is using English, that's also English. All the sentences spoken in English are a part of spoken English only. It means students can extract both knowledge and language from all the classrooms wherever English is used. We have found many teachers who are not English teachers speaking the best English possible. In that context, they have been great influences also. So, English inside the classroom, of course, students should be given focus. English language teacher need to focus little extra because he or she is capable of delivering the best skills possible. So students carry home the best accent, the best sentences, best words possible. That is one part of the story. That is inside the classroom. Even we are talking about communicative English grammar. Whenever we are using grammar or language skills, we need to teach English from the present context only. How English is used in the contemporary situation. We must create context uh, in this way only. So students find it that this is our English. You use context from the classroom, use context from the local discussions, whether it is politics, sports, culture, variety of discussions, create dialogues out of that, ordinary situations, everyday situations. This will lead to some kind of interest among the students. That is how one can really create a good learning atmosphere in the classroom. And the second thing is English outside the classroom. Outside the classroom, now we are talking about cultural context. Cultural texts. What are the cultural texts? Cultural texts like, children are watching IPL commentary in English by Gavaskar, Sanjay Manjrekar, or some Ian Botham, some English. There are mixture of variety of people. West Indian is also running a commentary, an Indian, an American, a Sri Lankan, a Pakistani. All types of commentaries are available. And the English that comes to you through commentary, through football matches, through a variety of reality shows, through a variety of English films, serials, web series, radio jockeys. So obviously, radio jockey, many people, even I talk about railway announcements in the train number 6267, Rani Chennamma Express is coming on platform number 2. This kind of language, there will be 3 types of languages they acquire. So all these are called cultural texts, context available outside the classroom, whether it is BPO or call center English. They get lot of context. Artificial intelligence, sir was talking about artificial intelligence. So obviously there are context created outside. Your mobile is a wonder box now. It provides you a lot of opportunities. A number of apps are available. Pronunciation dictionaries are available. Talking Tom is available. Reels are available. Obviously, all this provide you the best context of learning English today. What is English teachers' duty today is to explain them, create them an opportunity, provide them information where English is available. So by doing so, certainly we do a lot of language activity in the classroom. So today, English teacher is not just confined to English classroom. Today, he or she is not just only the role model. Amitabh Bachchan in Kaun Banega Crorepati can be a role model. Shah Rukh Khan in some reality show can be a role model. Aishwarya Rai may be a role model, or some important person A business tycoon like Narayan Murthy may be a role model. Kiran Bedi may be a role model. They listen to, they not only listen to for language, but also for some kind of inspiration. Today we are having spiritual gurus also. So we need to tell them that they get both knowledge and language skills by listening to these people across the world. So these are the three important questions that I raised and answered myself. Why English? What English? And how English? And I try to just tell you that why literature is also very, very important in this context. Literary texts, of course, provide us lot of opportunities of language learning besides giving great insights into the lives of the people. In this context, we need to look at language teaching with a different perspective today. And if we can make it clear that language is useful for these particular reasons, certainly children or students will change their attitude towards English. They are inspired to learn English in a better way and carry home the best language skills possible. With these words, and I thank the management of Anna Sahib Dange College of Engineering and Technology, ASTA, Department of Basic Sciences, and all the organizers present here for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts. But now my session is open for discussion. Thank you very much.
Anyone?
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm Surikan Parkal from CKT College, New Panvel. Sir, how you have developed your proficiency in language? Who were your role models? I think you were a fan of cricket, as you are given the example of cricket commentaries. Please some inspiration, because I have been checking your profile, and it's a really remarkable one. Please.
Thank you, Professor. In fact, I don't know how I was able to acquire this proficiency. If you call that I am proficient enough. In fact, I'm also a village boy and I had a very, very poor academic beginning. Later, during my college days, particularly during my undergraduate education, I was able to develop a passion for English. My teacher used to say, I had a teacher called Dr. Mania, but again, I didn't follow English. English followed me. And there was some sense in that. It means there were two-pronged strategy. We used to imitate a lot of teachers who taught us, including our famous phonetician, Professor Chandrasekhar Patil, Rajshekhar Mansur. Apart from that, I was listening to BBC News continuously. My father, although he was semi-educated, little, probably only primary education, he used to turn on the radio all the time, and whether it's English news, Hindi news. There was a time we used to imitate a lot from the classroom, a lot from the radio sources. And later I was able to just acquire both accent and language skills. I don't remember that I went to any grammar school regularly, but whatever English I have today is all because of the passion I have developed for this language. Continuous interest in listening to others, particularly listening to others play a very, very important role. So that's why God has given us 2 ears and 1 mouth. So obviously, I listened a lot and I learned a lot from listening to other people. This is how I was able to acquire little English.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Anybody else wants to ask the question? Please ask.
Mr. Vilas Sarpal sir is having one question, so please.
Good afternoon, sir. So I came across that some countries are preferring their regional language as their official languages rather than English. So my question is that is there any fear losing the importance of English, English language globally? Is there any fear losing the importance of English language globally?
I hope you are talking about regional language and
Some countries are
use of.
their regional languages. They are denying English for the English official language as their official language. So my question is that is there any fear losing the importance of English language? Is there any kind of if there is any fear losing this importance of English language?
You are talking about fear of language.
Yes.
I
It has this prestige, but some local.
no, I can make out there is some technology, some network issue here. Probably, if I understand little about your question, is the interference of regional language and the fear of English language. You are talking about that. I don't know whether there is a network issue here or there. I was not able to make out your question, Professor.
Sir, make it more simple so that you will understand. Simple in a sense, use proper word.
Sir, means I want to ask you, sir, that some countries are preferring regional languages. They are denying English. I came across in some articles. So I'm thinking that if there is any chance losing English, any importance, its importance. Globally, I'm talking. Means English has the prestige.
English is now no longer a language which brings you prestige today, because we know that who are speaking English. Even you go to a hotel, see English speaking, and now people at the gate, inside the hotel, and all that. English is no longer a babu's language today. English is no longer a language of social prestige. English is taught and learned for the sake of livelihood, for the sake of getting some jobs. So in this context, of course, local languages should be encouraged in their own way. And there must be education, primary education should be in the local language only. But when it comes to acquiring English skills, it gives you additional value. That's what I told you. If your mobile is with an extra recharge or high configuration, obviously your speed, mobility is rather good. So in this context, we are all supposed to acquire this language for the various benefits it offers us, and there should not be any fear of language, because English is neither our mother tongue nor any other. So obviously, for acquiring a language, one should not hesitate to learn anything. So use of English continuously or understanding context continuously certainly help you acquire this language without fear.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Sir. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Tell me, sir.
Sir, I'm Rajesh Dange, KBP College, Islampur.
Yes.
Recently, the NAP has given a stroke to the education system, particularly the language policy of NAP which you all know what's going on. It's focusing on the traditional language, particularly Sanskrit. In this context, as you said something about English is not now a Babu's language, but it is a language for livelihood now. Most of the teachers are just using their language for pet pani in Hindi term. And there are types of languages. One language is of we call Otachi Bhasha ni Potachi Bhasha. In Marathi, that is called. English has become one kind of a Potachi Bhasha now. Okay, but still, as a language, and now the contradiction is going on around us. So, what is your view about this new education policy and the sustainability of English language in this way?
Since I have been working in this task force of NEP in Karnataka, I can talk little on this. NEP document says that local languages should be encouraged and all the knowledge should be available in the local language itself. It means there has been a committee set up at the central level, Bharatiya Bhasha Committee, where major education should be given in local languages itself. That's a good move that the NEP has taken up from the very idea from India to Bharat and all that. The major, takeaways in this policy is that Indianization of education, Indian knowledge system, IKS and all, Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, Bharatiya Bhasha Parampara and all. Even in spite of all that, we require millions of translators from other languages to this language. We require thousands of, lexicographers, dictionary writers to because when we're talking about different education related to information technology, we need to develop our vocabulary, our keyboards, our softwares. So until then, we still require. We all know that how China, even though it has developed its own, language, Mandarin language, it is going with English only because it has business interests, only because it wants to reach a greater part of the world. Japan is the same case. They do their businesses, the local businesses in their own languages. But when it comes to international communication, international business, they still want it. So obviously, English as a language, one of the language, that helps you in a variety of communication matters. We need to keep this language. I think this language will continue to be there in spite of all the policies. It doesn't mean that, it undermines Indian languages. It will never undermine. Any language which is in use that's what we say, language, if the language is on the tongue, it will be carried forward. So language lives on the speaker's tongue. We should work for our local languages in such a way that we must be able to find alternatives for all the sciences. So in this connection, NEP has made a point that higher education should be available in local languages. I think it will go a long way in transforming Indian languages and in strengthening the local languages also. Apart from that, English will continue to be one of the languages. Now, English has become one of the Indian languages. I don't say it is the property of any other country now. So in this context, English learning will go for some more time.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. Can you?
Good afternoon, sir. Yes, I'm getting.
I am Kiran Kadam speaking, sir. Nowadays, sir, artificial intelligence is taking place everywhere.
Yes.
Whatever is happening with the help of machines and all these things. Then it would also come. These artificial intelligence also come in the teaching field. So, as a teacher, how we can prepare or compete with this artificial intelligence to make the surrounding proper in the colleges?
And there are two ways what I should find here. Artificial intelligence is not an intelligence created artificially. There is a human, activity behind all that. A lot of human work has been taken place to bring about artificial intelligence. Two things will happen here. One thing, artificial intelligence is not all the time an alternative for the real teacher now. This has been proved in the last COVID times. We went ahead with lot of online classes, lot of online seminars, webinars, and all that. It is not an alternative all the time for a physical classes or a physical teacher. So even after 100 years, the significance of good teacher will be always felt and will be identified. The problem is that some of our activities can be done by artificial intelligence. There are online tutors, online answers, and all that. So some crude work or some important, information can be given through the artificial intelligence. But even in spite of inventing lot of tools, lot of machines, man is the busiest animal today. We have invented aeroplane in place of walking. Still, we feel the significance of walking also. The same thing happens in all the walks of life, that the physical teacher will continue to rule the minds of the people. He or she will never be an alternative or maybe replaced by other things. But teacher has to play multi roles. That's what I told you. Teacher is in competition with robots. Teacher is in competition with the reality show, anchors. Teacher is in competition because the children have listened to variety of speakers outside the classroom. I was talking about commentary. I was talking about reality shows. I was talking about wonderful speakers from corporate giants and all. So we need to upgrade our skills. That is what we continuously talk about, upskilling ourselves. Teacher has to upskill. We cannot simply say that I am indispensable to my classroom. We are now having competitions outside the classroom also. This we need to realize. Good teachers will continue to be in demand even in future too.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Am I audible to you? Hello, sir. Yes. Hello, sir. Am I audible to you? Do you listen to me? Yes, sir. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. I would like to ask you one question. Nowadays, soft skill is becoming one of the emerging, domains, right? So I find my interest in this particular domain. So how I can how I can have more exposure in this regard?
Soft skills are not actually different skills. Of course, except the word soft has been used here. This is what actually the teacher has been doing. But now we are focusing more and more on language skills. And soft skills is nothing but the way of life, the way of talking, the way of greeting, the way of managing group. And that's where we learn about intrapersonal, interpersonal. So how we need to negotiate with ourselves. These are the life skills actually we used to learn in the literature. But today we are giving a different title called soft skills. And we are telling them stories related to that. So soft skill is one of the life skills today, that how a person can communicate with himself, communicate with the group, communicate with the team, the use of language, the use of attitude, what kind of attitude you should have, positive attitude, how one should have leadership skills, group discussion skills, interview skills. These are the things we need to teach them separately in the soft skills. Otherwise, in the conventional education, they were all part and parcel of our teaching. Today, we have courses called soft skills in English, soft skills in Kannada, soft skills in Marathi, like that. Soft skills is nothing but to focus on the best language skills, whether it is your local language or English language. So there have been many courses now available for soft skills, which includes accent, language skills, and aptitude skills also.
Okay, so with this question and answer, I think it is time to conclude the session. So thank you very much, Dr. Gurunath Badikar sir. We are engraced with
Thank you, sir.
with your presence as well as with your speech. Your language were a very lucid one, and everybody wants to listen you more and more. Even some researchers, they ask me about that they want more what do you say, vicinity of yours. Someone who wants to join you as a research student also. So, so thank you very much, sir, for your inspiring session. So you have to talk about three questions basically, that is what English, why English, and how English. And you have given the answers of these questions throughout this session. And I'm very much thankful to you that you have given your valuable time, and you have just engraced this occasion. So with this, I just say that the second session is concluded now. Now the third session, which we have planned, Dr. S.M. Saravde sir, we are unavoidable circumstances. The session is being cancelled, and now we have to take the lunch break. And after the lunch break, at 2:30 p.m., we will start the paper presentation. And the schedule of it will be displayed on the WhatsApp group. And now the physical participants who have joined this conference, okay, we will go with our Professor C.V. Surenshi sir in the dining hall. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.